Hello YouTube, my name is Joe and welcome to my farm and my channel. I am a husband of one and a father of five. I work as a high school shop teacher. And on the weekends and summers, I pretend to be a farmer, homesteader, gardener, all those things. Today's goal of this video is to tell you about the 4 different ways that I've used to water my chickens over the years. Now this is going to start out with the very most simple method, and it's going to ramp up to a little more DIY application, usually a little more work on your end. The simple methods are going to be the dirtier methods. The more complicated methods will be the cleaner methods. So let's go. The first one is a simple bowl. You can see I have one right there in my chicken run, and this is more of a rubberized dish, bowl, whatever you want to call it. I use this with my pigs. I've got another one that I use for my dog, and I've got one that I'll put in the chicken run. What's nice about these, you can buy these at the feed store, the tractor store, whatnot. They do have a lot of flexibility. They won't freeze and crack during the winter time. They take a beating. They do well out in the sun. They're pretty nice in that respect. The downside, they get dirty. You can see this one, it just gets dirty. Dust settles, mud gets in there, the chickens will get on the edge and take a dump in it. It's dirty. That's a disadvantage. The advantage? No moving parts, right? Nothing to get clogged, nothing to get jammed up with debris, algae, whatnot. You just dump water in, there you go. If you really want to do a good job with this, you should scrub it out once in a while and dump more water in. So this is a nice tool if you're working on a farm, because like I said, with the pigs, this can be a feed container. This can be a water container. They'll knock it all over, but it can do that job. So that's the first method that I've used to water my chickens. Now the second method that I use quite often is a gravity system. This is a double wall type fountain. This is a 2-gallon. These are galvanized, and they work pretty good. They work pretty good, especially if you're keeping them on top of a warming tray or some kind of warming method during the middle of winter. But these work out really good. You can see it, there's some water there. It works off a vacuum system, and once the water fills up to the top of this tray, actually slightly below it, the water stops flowing, and you can fill it up. Those work out really well. I usually try to keep at least one extra one around. They will rust out eventually. I have a lot of iron in my water. They don't last forever, but they keep the water really clean. Once again, they're not super expensive, but they're not free either. Going along with that gravity system, I also use some of these plastic ones. These are also by Little Giant. This is a 1-gallon, and you could buy these in 1-gallon, 2-gallon, 5-gallon. I think that's about as big as they get. Maybe they get bigger. And you could buy those with hose adapters to the top. I do like having these 1-gallon ones. I have about 2 or 3 of these around, and I use these when I'm brooding because they don't take up a lot of room. I can see the level of the water, and quite honestly, if you've ever brooded chickens, raised them as little chicks up until they're ready to go outside, they're messy. You have wood chips down, they fill up this outside tray with wood chips, and so you're changing water out a lot, and so rarely does the water actually run out in these. But using the gravity type fountains, that's the second method I work with. And cost is a little bit more, but the amount of time you have to spend with it is a lot less. Now, the third method I use to water chickens is using the nipples that go on the bottom of buckets. You can see here, this is my stress-free chicken tractor that I use for my meat chickens. You can see that right now I've got one of these buckets hooked up. It's on a chain, and the chickens can just go underneath there, and they just nip, 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 and it gives them drops of water. Now this is the DIY method where you buy these little screw-in nipple pieces, and they have a little ball valve that shuts off the water. You got to drill it to the right size. Sometimes you got to put a little Teflon tape around it. Then you have to screw that piece in. This is super nice because in this water situation, let me back you away. In this water situation, all I have to do is from the outside dump water in. About every 10 days during this meat season, I do have to dump that water out and kind of scrub it. It will get a little algae because once again, it's getting sunlight. This is why I don't use that clear gravity one outside. But you do have to scrub that out a little bit. I keep 2 of these extra. I bought a 10-pack years ago and just made up 3 buckets. And after a while, these buckets don't last. They get weathered, they get dried up, they get banged up through travel. You drop one, it shatters. But I'm able to transfer these over. At the end of the meat season, you need to make sure you clean them out really well, or else you have to disassemble them. And you can disassemble them and get all those movements clearing. These guys are just a few more days away from butcher. And so, but this is a really nice system to give those chickens clean water. And honestly, with a meat situation where you're always moving around, it's near impossible to move the water with them. But if it's hooked onto this rig, it's easy to do. The 4th method I'd like to talk about is using a water cup. This is a water cup. It's kind of a gravity or weight activated cup that allows you to turn really any container into a chicken waterer. You can see right down there, I've got an old cat litter bucket, and I was able to just use these water cups to get clean water to the chickens. I'm not sure what that is, maybe 3-4 gallons, not a huge container, but it supplies the chickens with clean water. It's elevated, so they're not filling it up with a lot of dirt. There's always a little bit of dirt on their beak, and yeah, that will go in there, but by the time the container is low enough, I just rinse everything out and we'll clean again for several days. The cost for these water cups is super cheap. I don't know if this was a 5-pack, 6-pack, 10-pack. I'm not sure. I've got a mess of these things. They're super cheap. Was there some work involved? Yeah, I had to drill 3 holes into a bucket. But that was it. These things usually come with a little O-ring or a little washer, rubber washer, and then it's just a wing nut. When the water fills in, it shuts off the valve. Really that simple. Once the water is out of that cup, it raises back up, opens the valve up, and new water can flow in. It's a great way to keep clean water to your chickens. Like I said, their beaks will always have a little dirt on them, so those cups will get dirt. But you rinse it out after it goes low enough. It's good for several days. Disadvantage, this will not work if you're in a space or an area where it freezes. It won't work. It absolutely won't work. You can see the bottom of that bucket is very dirty. I keep this thing outside so they have some water in their chicken run. If you kept it inside, it'd probably be a little bit cleaner. So those are 4 ways that I use to water my chickens. With those nipples, with these water cups, you definitely can go bigger. I've seen people use these along a tube style. I've seen lots of different changes and variations to those. What do you think? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Leave it in the comments below. What method do you use? And so really the nipple system I use with that mobile chicken tractor, and I don't use it the rest of the year. The water cups work really well until we're frozen up. And then I just use those galvanized double wall fountains. The bins, the bowls, I use those pretty regularly, especially if we get some expired milk. If I have extra food, I try to put that in there. But what do you use? So my name is Joe. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this, hopefully to be a little bit helpful to you. If you've got a method already figured out, I'm glad. Share it with me. Maybe it'd be a better move for me. So There you go. Have a great day. Bye now.